Have you ever wondered why the world out there seems so terrifying, even though it's not always that way? Why does the silence in your room give you a sense of absolute safety, while the noise of life feels like a lurking threat? You often tell yourself, I'm just an introvert, I simply love peace, quiet, and solitude. But is it truly just peace? Deep down, do you realize you're craving safety, a feeling of absolute control? This is perhaps your last refuge, a place where the world can't touch you, because stepping outside means facing exposure, constant judgment, endless comparisons, and scrutinizing eyes. Every smile you see hides deceit, every handshake feels like an insincere lie, and ironically, each time you try to fit in, the feeling of loneliness intensifies. Is this why you've built invisible walls? Not with bricks and mortar, but with habits, walls of comfort, familiar routines, and absolute silence. These walls, they cleverly disguise themselves as peace. You call it freedom, but is it merely an escape? The harsh truth is, your home has become an impenetrable fortress, a fortress not just to shield you from the chaos of the outside world, but also to protect you from yourself. Protecting you from deep-seated insecurities, past failures, and even unexplored potentials. The more you hide at home, the smaller your world becomes. And the smaller that world gets, the safer you feel, don't you? Because safety has an irresistible allure. It whispers in your ear, you're fine, it's safe here, you don't need to fight anymore. And you've completely believed that whisper. But what if I told you that this so-called safety is actually just fear in disguise? That comfort isn't peace, but a form of mental paralysis? And the walls you built to survive are now the very barriers preventing you from living a full life? Remember, every fortress, no matter how strong, will eventually become a prison. And what's more frightening, even the fortress built within your own mind is no exception. But to break free from it, the first thing you need to do is understand it. You need to understand, why does the outside world appear as a fierce battlefield, and why has your mind decided to surrender even before the battle truly begins? This isn't simply about choosing to stay home, this is the story of a part of you that has stopped trusting life itself. And tonight, you will have to confront that part of yourself, because do you remember, you weren't always afraid of this world. Once upon a time, long before cities rose and screens appeared, danger had a clear form. It had teeth, claws, and always lurked beyond the flickering firelight. In those days, safety meant survival. Just one careless step outside the cave could mean death, and our ancestors ingrained a lesson their bodies never forgot. Safety isn't comfort, but control. That being alone, being sheltered, was the key to survival. Those survival instincts didn't vanish with the extinction of wolves. They evolved, taking on new forms: traffic jams, urban noise, harsh judgments, and the fear of social rejection. Now, the predators have become invisible. They hide in constant notifications, in crushing expectations, and in the ceaseless scrutiny of others. Your nervous system, unfortunately, cannot tell the difference. To your nervous system, every crowd is a dangerous hunt, every confrontation feels like complete exposure, and every rejection signifies death. That's why, when you return home, when you retreat into familiar silence, your brain whispers, "Well done, you've survived another day." It grants you calm, a pleasant dose of dopamine, and a sense of peace. Don't mistake this for weakness. This is part of the ancient programming deeply ingrained in our instincts. But here lies the real hidden danger. What once helped you survive in the past is now making you small. You've confused survival with strength, and ironically, comfort has become your new predator. The modern human mind faces overstimulation, constant judgment, and a lack of necessary rest. Every conversation feels like a performance, and every moment of social interaction becomes a stressful test. So you seek refuge, not because you're lazy or antisocial, but because your system is completely overwhelmed. You retreat because a deep instinct screams, hide, reclaim control. Even the greatest minds have understood this. The philosopher Nietzsche once called solitude the school of the spirit. Did you know Jung once said that your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart? Retreating is sometimes instinctual, but could hiding away forever be a potential disaster? Needing your own space isn't a sign of weakness, but are you mistaking isolation for true strength? How can you heal if your silence is merely a veil for your fears? Are you feeling safe simply because you've stopped risking anything? This is the harsh truth your mind always tries to avoid, isn't it? Is the comfort you seek merely primal fear, dressed in modern clothes? Every time you turn your back on the world, are you inadvertently feeding that very fear? Are you self-validating that you can't cope with life? But this is what truly distinguishes the strong from the weak. They also feel fear, but they never let it dictate their lives. What about you? They step out not because they feel safe, but because they've understood that true growth only begins when we leave our comfort zone. So, are you also feeling much safer at home? There's nothing broken about you, but if you stay in one place forever, are the instincts that once helped you survive slowly burying you? After all, the human mind was made to survive in the wild. Does life ever mean slowly dying within four walls? You call it peace, you call it freedom, but look closely. Is it true peace, or just absolute control within your own home? In that space, everything must conform to your will, right? The lights, the music, the air all under control. No surprises, no chaos, no threats. Is that why you're so captivated by it? Because once you step outside these walls, you'll realize you have no power whatsoever. The world out there is unpredictable, people are irrational, and reality rarely bends to your will. Does that frighten you? But inside, you are the king of your own tiny kingdom. Are you mistaking that absolute control for true safety, or is it just an addiction in disguise that you're unaware of? It's an addiction to predictability, a relentless obsession with avoiding all uncertainty. You've turned comfort into a religion, and every day, are you praying to the god of routine? Are you hoping that if you follow those routines long enough, you'll never have to feel powerless again? Machiavelli once had a thought-provoking quote, "Men desire power, even over what is dead." What does this mean to you? He meant that for those who are afraid, control is a substitute for courage. When you can't dominate the vast world, are you starting to try and dominate your immediate environment, from space and time to even your emotions? And soon enough, that mastery becomes part of your identity. You no longer feel strong when facing storms, do you? You only truly feel strong when those storms never appear. But is that control demanding too high a price? Is every inch of safety you gain being traded for a piece of your own vitality? You lose curiosity, adaptability, and even the sacred tension that once kept the human mind alive. The Stoics warned about this long ago, even before psychology had a name for it. What did they say? That comfort without any struggle is the path to decay. They also said that any man who seeks too much peace will inadvertently invite weakness deep into his soul. Seneca called it slow suicide. Are you inadvertently doing that to yourself? Are you slowly dying within the comfort of the controlled zone you've created? You feel safe, perhaps because there's nothing left to challenge you? But ask yourself, is that truly safety or just a sedative? You've traded vibrant chaos for paralysis, uncertainty for stagnation. Is that a worthwhile exchange? You're seeking comfort in the familiar, aren't you? You tell yourself, at least I'm at peace. But is peace without any conquest truly peace, or just a meaningless void? Calmness without purpose, isn't that just a more eloquent way of saying fear? Imagine this. What if you dared to step out of that comfort zone you've always revered? When you face something completely beyond your control, repair, or prediction, can you stand firm? Or will that be the moment your illusion of innate strength shatters without a trace? This is the greatest tragedy of so-called control in our modern age. You're not avoiding pain. In reality, you're evading the very opportunity to grow. You're not creating peace, you're building formidable walls, and behind those walls is the mind that once built empires slowly losing its fighting instinct. So, honestly ask yourself, are you protecting yourself from the world's chaos, or are you hiding your weaknesses from exposure? Because every comfort you cling to, isn't it just another chain cleverly disguised as peace? And every chain you refuse to break, isn't that the clearest proof that safety was never your true goal? Perhaps control is what you truly crave? You think you fear the world, the noise, people, the relentless expectations. But what's the harsh truth? This world is just a giant mirror, and what you truly dread is your own reflection within it. Look around. Modern society is like a storm. Everyone's performing, everyone's pretending, everyone's screaming for recognition in a theater full of distractions. The modern world has turned existence into a fierce competition for attention. So you're not crazy for wanting to escape it all. On the contrary, you're the only sane one in a mad world. But is there something deeper hidden beneath that facade of sanity? It's not just the external chaos that exhausts you, it's the internal chaos that's exposed when you're forced to confront it. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the dark, unaccepted parts of yourself that you constantly try to hide, deny, and bury deep down. Your anger, your envy, your shame, you thought you'd left them behind, didn't you? But the moment you step out into the world, it gives it all back to you. You'll see your insecurity clearly reflected in others' success, your suppressed rage ignite at others' confidence, and your guilt manifest in their freedom. So you're not running from those things, but from the raw truth they awaken within you. Every crowd suddenly becomes unbearable, every face seems judgmental, and every sound feels like a terrifying intrusion. Because the outside world is exposing the deepest parts of you that you've spent a lifetime trying to suppress. So you retreat into your room, not because it's truly peaceful, but because it's quiet enough for the illusion of peace to persist. You tell yourself you love solitude, but could that solitude just be a mental anesthetic you administer to yourself? The shadow doesn't disappear when you run from it. Instead, it patiently waits, silently nurturing your denial. And the more you try to avoid the world, the stronger that shadow grows. Until one day, the silence you once thought was a shield transforms into a resounding chamber where your own unhealed mind echoes endlessly. You start to resent the walls that once felt safe, because safety without integration, doesn't it become a terrifying suffocation? The world isn't attacking you, it's inviting you. It's inviting you to confront everything you're projecting onto it. The noise you despise in the outside world, isn't that the very noise you've never dared to face deep within yourself? The people who exhaust you, they're reflecting the emotions you've suppressed for so long. And the pressure weighing on you, could it be the strict standards you've silently imposed upon yourself? This is why you always feel so overwhelmed, because you've mistaken the true battlefield. Your enemy was never the crowd, the noise, or even this vast world. Do you realize that your greatest enemy is none other than the uncontrolled chaos hidden deep within you? Are you perhaps afraid of the outside world simply because it exposes the hidden corners, the unfinished business within your soul? But do you know that this very exposure is the door to your hidden power? As Carl Jung once concluded, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. What does this mean for you? Do you think the world overwhelms you with its noise and hustle? No, it stuns you with its raw truth. So when you exclaim, "I feel safer at home," are you implicitly admitting, "I feel safer away from myself"? But how can you escape what exists in your own reflection? The only way is to learn to face it. And when you are brave enough to do so, what will the world that once instilled fear become, if not an enemy? It will transform into a mirror reflecting your truth, a guiding teacher, and the toughest test of your life. For years, you've told yourself that hiding makes you weak, that silence means you're broken. But is that truly accurate? But have you ever wondered if your retreat isn't out of fear, but a process of forging in solitude? Because isolation also holds another aspect, a depth most of us have never touched. Do you want to explore it? This is not an escape, but a spectacular evolution. When you actively choose solitude with a clear purpose, it ceases to be a cage and transforms into a forge that tempers you, making you stronger than ever. Are you ready to step into that forge? The philosopher Nietzsche metaphorically called it the ascent of the lonely mountain. He asserted that only those brave enough to leave the noisy crowd can truly behold the world most clearly from the summit. Do you dare to be that person? That climb is arduous, the air thins, but it is in that absolute stillness that your mind truly becomes its own master. While the masses seek noise to escape themselves, you choose silence to bravely confront yourself. What does this say about you? In a world overflowing with incessant chatter, you choose to listen not to others but to the storm raging within you. This is not a sign of weakness, but proof of an iron discipline. Do you agree? Carl Jung called this process individuation, the journey to becoming whole by bravely confronting the depths of your soul. He believed that solitude is not the absence of connection, but the birthplace of your truest self. Are you ready for that journey? It is here that you will stop living by imitation and begin to forge your own identity, tempered by truth, not by the approval of others. If you have used solitude to understand your triggers, your addictions, or your emotional wounds, then you have accomplished something very few dare to do. Are you proud of that? You have bravely journeyed through your personal underworld and returned with a clarity that others will never have the chance to experience. For a reclusive mind, when consciously awakened, is an incredibly potent weapon. Do you feel that power? That mind observes what others often overlook. It learns meticulously before acting, and it builds a solid inner order even as the outside world tears itself apart. This is why those who truly master solitude become so unpredictable. Do you want to be such a person? They don't need attention to exist, nor do they need noise to feel alive. They carry their entire world within them. And such a man or woman, can anyone truly control them? Do you yearn for that freedom? However, there's an important warning. Solitude only truly transforms you when you are brave enough to confront everything it exposes. Are you ready for that truth? If you use solitude to become stronger, wiser, sharper, then that's wonderful. Otherwise, it will turn against you. For purposeless stillness will gradually turn into decay. So the question isn't whether you should retreat, but is your retreat shaping you for the better or slowly consuming you? Are you using it correctly? When used correctly, solitude becomes sacred. It burns away all illusions, sharpens your keen instincts, and transforms you into a completely self-reliant individual. You are no longer escaping the world. Instead, you are preparing to return, but as a version of yourself that the world can no longer touch. Can you envision that transformation? Every true transformation demands a spectacular return. Even the monk must leave the mountain. The warrior must step back into the fire. You were not born to hide forever. Isolation is never the final destination, but merely a forge to temper you. Are you ready for that return? And now, the real test begins. For solitude grants you clarity, but only the outside world can truly verify your strength. Only chaos can reveal whether the peace you've painstakingly built is a lasting truth. Do you dare to face that test? Do you know this is the threshold most people never cross? They build a peace in stillness, then cling to it, refusing to let go. Are they mistaking quietness for enlightenment, or is fear their wisdom? They become complacent hermits, safe, quiet, and then lose their significance. But you, are you truly like them? Surely not, right? You've sharpened your mind in the deepest shadows, bravely faced your inner demons in silence, and little by little, you've rebuilt your armor. So now, like a warrior preparing for battle, what will you return for? Not to seek approval, but to prove, to validate the extraordinary person you've forged. Do you know, in ancient Japan, samurai often went through mysterious periods of seclusion before re-emerging onto the battlefield? They weren't escaping the world, rather they purified themselves from its distractions. What was the purpose? And when they returned, they were colder, more focused, more unpredictable than ever. They carried a powerful silence, a stillness that commanded respect from anyone. That's the silence of power, isn't it? And that's the silence you now possess, isn't it? Not the silence of fear, but the silence of absolute control. When you re-emerge, will you rush to explain your absence? Don't. Let your energy speak for itself. You no longer owe the world your weakness. What you owe them now is your iron discipline. Are you ready to demonstrate that? Observe everyone around you closely. Study every word and see through the masks they wear. You'll be amazed at how fragile they've become and how addicted they are to noise, validation, and fleeting distractions. Do you see it? You'll feel detached, even alien to that world. But don't worry, that's a good sign, isn't it? It's the clearest proof that you have truly changed. This is the moment your isolation transforms into extraordinary strength. You won't return as the person who left. You re-emerge as something far rarer, a psychologically fortified wanderer, moving effortlessly through chaos, untouched. Incredible, isn't it? You've grasped a law few understand. You must retreat to gather strength, but that strength must return to prove its worth. So return to the noise, return to this world. But not to blend in, rather to glide through it invisibly, carrying the powerful silence of one who no longer needs to hide. Are you ready? Now you see clearly, don't you? Every wall you built, every silence you chose, every hour you spent away from the world, none of it was wasted. It was the most meticulous preparation for something greater. Can you feel it? You once thought you were escaping life, didn't you? But in reality, you were studying it deeply. You thought you were escaping fear, but no, you were learning its language, memorizing every tone, every deceptive trick, every lie it whispers in the dark. Do you realize that? You once feared this world, didn't you? Because it was too vast, too noisy, too unpredictable. But now you've seen the truth. You never truly feared the outside world. So what did you fear? What has terrified you all this time is the disorder, the chaos within you, not anyone else's. Safety was never the ultimate destination. The true goal must be self-sovereignty. And that sovereignty doesn't come from locking out the outside world. It comes from mastering the inner storm, until even chaos kneels before your absolute calm. Do you believe in that power? When you truly understand your own mind, will the world still be able to control it? Certainly not. And when you master all emotions, manipulation will completely vanish, silenced by your powerful presence. Do you want to achieve that? When you no longer crave comfort, you become invulnerable. That's the valuable lesson solitude wants to teach you. Not how to escape, but how to stand firm when everything around you is ablaze. Are you ready to face it? Your home is no longer a cage, is it? It has become a supreme command center where you regenerate your will, sharpen your perception, and prepare to return to the battlefield with a mind that will no longer crack under any pressure. You no longer fear the outside world because you've faced the real enemy, yourself. And you've won, haven't you? And once you've conquered that greatest enemy, is there anything left to fear? The world that once overwhelmed you has now become your own battlefield, and the solitude that once weakened you has transformed into impenetrable armor. Truly extraordinary, isn't it? You've learned to turn silence into a sharp weapon. You've realized that retreat is sometimes a wise strategy. And most importantly, you've understood that comfort is not true peace. It's merely a sedative. Now you've burned that illusion to ashes, haven't you? Are you ready for a new life? Are you still seeking safety? No, because now you are the master. You stride through this world, separate yet serene, with sharp awareness and an enchanting unpredictability. Who could possibly understand you? What noise could shake you? Who could own your soul? And what crowd has the right to define who you are? This isn't mere peace. This is the most primal power, a dominion that needs no external permission. Do you feel it? No applause needed, no witnesses required. Do you remember building walls just to survive? Now you've shattered them to rise and dominate. The peace you've found isn't an escape from the world, but a courageous confrontation with the deepest parts of yourself that the world awakened. Is that the only path? You've crossed the threshold of destiny. You're no longer running from life, are you? Now you decide when to confront, and each time you do, the world retreats. Rise now, not as your old self, but as the extraordinary person you've forged yourself to be. Are you ready? The walls around you still stand, but is the person within them still the same? You don't need to destroy your fortress. What you need is to step out of it with iron discipline, not with fear. Do you have the courage to do that? Step through your own threshold, not to blend into the crowd, but to validate the extraordinary power you've quietly built. The world will test you again, won't it? It will provoke, distract, tempt you to fall, but are you still easily defeated? Certainly not. Why are you so strong? Because your strength no longer comes from escape, but from profound understanding. You've realized control can become a cage, comfort can lead to decay, and fear, perhaps, is the greatest teacher you've ever encountered. Does this resonate with you? So, stride with silent dominion. Observe more, speak less. Carry your solitude like a hidden blade, known only to you how to wield it. And engrave this: comfort will never protect you. It is merely a barrier delaying your own evolution. Do you dare to abandon it? But your awareness, that is your impenetrable armor now. It cannot be stolen, cannot be corrupted, and cannot be broken. You are no longer one who merely stays put. You are one who has learned to transform stillness into sharp strategy, fear into absolute clarity, and isolation into unparalleled strength. Is this truly who you are? You've left the fortress of safety, so now let the whole world feel your powerful return. And if you are truly ready to continue sharpening your mind, if you have abandoned the desire for safety to rise as a master, then stay. Because what's coming will transform your silence into an unstoppable force. Do you dare to embrace it?